It's so shocking, it's unbelievable. He, the president of Kenya, has come to the conclusion that the lives of the people who elected him as president are less valuable than the lives of citizens of the United States of America. But this is the problem we have in Africa now. Look, this is not substantially different from the situation in which West African leaders actually met in ECOWAS and accepted $20 million from France to go and attack Niger. What's the difference? Look, if the parliament of Nigeria had not fought so rigorously, Tinubu would have attacked Niger. Tinubu was stopped from attacking Niger because the bordering Nigerian states, Nigerian states, federal states in Nigeria, which border Niger, actually issued a statement saying that they would not allow their territories to be used in any aggression against Niger. Otherwise, Tinubu would have ordered Nigerians to go and die in Niger in order to facilitate French domination of Niger. Unbelievable. You see, this week, something has been happening in Ghana too. You know that we are going to hold a very high-level meeting on reparative justice in Accra. And I understand that many heads of states and deputy heads of states and speakers of parliament and so on are coming, so that we can develop a common strategy, African strategy, for fighting for reparative justice. And among the speakers at this event is going to be Emmanuel Macron of France. Emmanuel Macron of France will be speaking at this event. Now, I'm happy about one thing. To be honest, I'm happy about one thing, which is that now we are being told that he will not be physically present in Accra.
His voice will be heard.
That he will deliver his speech by video and so on. That's a downgrade. It's a downgrade. But still makes me uncomfortable. You understand? Still makes me uncomfortable. Having regard to the fact that France, at the UN General Assembly, actually decided to abstain. They wouldn't say yes or no to the resolution which saw the transatlantic slave trade as one of the gravest crimes against humanity. France wouldn't commit itself. What? And Macron should be ashamed of himself. I mean, after misbehaving in the UN, what gives him, the vim to come to Ghana to participate in a conference like this, to express views about reparative justice and so on? But you see, these people, they have no shame. He will deliver the address. They have no shame. He will deliver the address. But why would these things not happen with leaders like William Ruto? And Ruto is cultivating a very, very bad image. You remember when the people of Kenya protested against the harsh economic conditions in Kenya and so on? What was Ruto's response? Killed them. They fired. They killed many of them, arrested many of them, put them in prison, and so on. Only recently, the same Emmanuel Macron went to Kenya to portray himself as the leading Pan-Africanist, an insult to everything Pan-Africanism. And a few people decided to protest. In fact, I'm told that there were less than 100 people who decided to protest. The police again opened fire. They arrested them and locked them up. So William Ruto's answer to agitations against the pursuit of neo-colonial, neoliberal policies is kill and kill, shoot. Look, the betrayal of African interest is a grave enough crime. You know, just the betrayal of African interest is grave. But to kill those who resist this betrayal is taking the betrayal of the African agenda to another level. And we should not tolerate it. And I think all of us have a responsibility to express our full solidarity with the Kenyan people who are engaged in the struggle against the neo-colonial exploits of William Ruto and his government. Every African on the continent, in the diaspora, Africans everywhere ought to demonstrate significant solidarity, you understand, with the Kenyan people who are resisting this neo-colonial penetration. Indeed, what Professor Kwesi Pratt describes as neo-colonial arrogance. You know, I've had some conversations with some very, very prominent Ghanaians about this threat of Emmanuel Macron entering our territory to speak on reparative justice. And these conversations, I would think, were private conversations and so on, you understand. And therefore, I do not want to go into any elaborate details. But I would urge all self-respecting Ghanaians, all Ghanaians who believe in the struggle for reparative justice, all Ghanaians who want to stand up for what Kwame Nkrumah stood for, to kindly persuade our authorities to ensure that Macron does not participate in this conference. Because it will be an issue all over the world. There are some in the Congo, there are some in Uganda, there are some in countries which are already experiencing Ebola. So what the United States of America has decided is that it is going to build a facility in Kenya. So US citizens who catch Ebola, who get infected by Ebola, would not be sent to the United States of America to create a health problem in the US, but they will be sent to Kenya, to a forward operating base like the one the US has in Ghana. They're going to send Americans who get infected with Ebola to Kenya, and that they will be treated there, and if they survive, then they can visit the United States of America. Now, it is significant to note that the current strain of Ebola has no known cure. There's no vaccine which can deal with it, and so on. You understand? So this is the decision that the United States of America has taken. Now, strangely, very, very strangely, the president and government of Kenya have accepted this approach by the United States of America. This approach which simply says that the lives of US citizens are more valuable than the lives of the Kenyan people. They have accepted it. Now, I listened to President William Ruto, and I was shocked. I mean, I could not imagine that he's coming from a country where the Mau movement sprang up in the struggle against Western domination and thievery. I cannot imagine that William Ruto is president of a country, shares the same nationality as Didan Kimati. I cannot believe it. Now, his argument simply is that Kenya has had more than 30 years of relations with the United States of America, that the two countries have worked together to promote health for over 30 years. One argument. The second argument is that the United States of America is going to give them some dollars. Indeed, it's, I think, $38 million or thereabouts, you know. And therefore, Kenya has to accept this facility. Now, Kenyan citizens, including the Law Society of Kenya, went to court in order to stop this senseless move. Actually went to court. The court decided that the exercise should be suspended. William Ruto and his government told the Kenyan court to go to hell. Members of parliament in the area where the facility is going to be established invited the health minister to parliament for questioning. They have issued a joint statement denouncing the establishment of this facility in Kenya. William Ruto is still insisting that the facility should be established in Kenya. What an African leader. African leader. Sana, African leader. He's a leader of Kenya. He sits in the AU. When the AU is making, decisions about Africa and so on, he's one of the people who will be sitting there representing Kenya. This is his attitude. Salt. Look, our president has done so well. Our president, as AU champion for reparative justice, has done so very well. Look at how he's managed to move Africa and the Caribbean to work in tandem to secure this resolution in the UN General Assembly. Look, Africa has always been divided. In 1963, when Nkrumah put forward the proposal for the unity of Africa, he was opposed. The Morovia group, the Casablanca group, and so on emerged. And since 1963, we have not been able to achieve the objectives that Nkrumah put before us, the establishment of the African High Command, the integration of our economies and so on, because of these divisions. You understand? For the first time in our history, all 55 countries in Africa united on the bandwagon of reparative justice under the leadership of President John Dramani Mahama. Not just that, all the CARICOM member states joined Africa in making that demand. So our president has achieved something significant. You understand? His championing of the fight for reparative justice has been impressive. We should not allow that record to be soiled by a speech from Macron at this important conference, only, I think, next week or so, 17th of June. And Macron must be stopped. He must be stopped from speaking at this conference. And it's the duty of all patriotic Pan-Africanist organizations. It is the duty of all individuals, including members of parliament, to speak out against this outrage which is about to unfold in our country. As for the Ebola facility in Kenya, knowing Ruto and his antics and so on, it is clear Ruto will be willing to kill to help the United States make the point that Kenyan lives don't matter. At least they don't matter as much us American lives. But the battle, the battle for the protection of sovereignty is on. It is on in the alliance of Sahel states to factions. And that in no time at all, different branches of government will be seen in public, in fights which will become public. You remember a couple of weeks ago. Today, it is clear that the declaration of these reckless ambitions and so on has found space, on the front pages of the newspapers. I'm holding in my hands the daily gist of Friday, 5th June, 2026. And the headline is, blows over 1.67 billion agric budget. Atuforsen Eric Opoku, internal fight spills out. It's a very long story. And it reads, a public disagreement over the release of budgetary allocation to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has sparked fresh political storm within the governing National Democratic Congress, with observers linking the controversy to the emerging battle over who succeeds President John Dramani Mahama as the party's presidential candidate for the 2028 general elections. The controversy erupted after Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nakon Ampim announced during a presentation to stakeholders and development partners that the government had released 1.677 billion to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, representing 85% of the ministry's approved 2026 budget for goods, services, and capital expenditure. And it goes on. You see, there's no way, it is not possible to encourage this declaration of ambitions and campaigning without creating rival forces in government and in the party. It is not possible. If you allow this to fester, the rivalries would emerge and they will find spaces on the front pages of our newspaper, and they will create the impression of total disarray and disorganization at the center of government. This is the danger facing the National Democratic Congress. And the earlier the National Democratic Congress woke up to this reality, the better it will be for them. This dispute. Tell me how this dispute makes sense. All the ministers meet in cabinet every Thursday. The cabinet meeting provides a forum for sorting out these things. When it spills into public as it has done, it tells a story of disorganization. It shows that the cabinet meetings are not even serving the purpose for which they were established. All the ministers are supposed to work up to the chief of staff. If there's a minister whose resources have not been released by another ministry, doesn't it make more sense for the minister to report to the chief of staff than to speak to the media? All of the ministers are representatives of the president in the various ministries. Are they telling us that the president has lost control? This dispute in the media, what does it tell us? That the president has lost control? This is the danger we have been talking about for a long time. And this is it. It's now spilled into the public domain. To the embarrassment of the party, to the embarrassment of the president and so on. This is what we have been talking about. So embarrassing. This is happening at a time when perhaps for the first time in our history, or perhaps for a very long time, the rate of inflation has climbed down from 50-something% all the way to 3.3%. Nobody is talking about that. You are talking about a dispute between Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Finance. This is the time we are told that the national debt has reduced. Who is talking about that? This is the time we are told that the import cover, how do they say it, has improved. Who is talking about that? This is the time when we are told, for example, that the value of the cedi has appreciated. Who is talking about that? Everything is about the personal ambition of individuals. And my comrade, Dr. Naba, you see, the contest for national leadership is not a beauty contest. The contest for national leadership is not a beauty contest at all. It's not about who has been marketed and for how long it's been marketed. That is not the issue. The contest for national leadership is about shaping of a national vision and demonstrating how that vision is realistic and achievable. That is the only context within which that contest must properly take place. One is reduced to a beauty contest. One is reduced to a contest between individuals, their personal attributes and so on. It loses its essence. So it's not about for how long Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been marketed. That's not the issue. And it's not about for how long whoever may emerge has been marketed. That's not the issue at all. Why? Recently, in one of these Asian countries, a candidate has emerged who has won elections. This young musician who won elections in, where is it? I will remember very soon.
Is it Latin American?
It's not a Latin American country, it's an Asian country bordering India. You know. Why? Until a few months to the election, nobody knew him. He beat the traditional politicians, landslide victory and so on. So it is not true that it's about marketing and so on. It is not true. You understand? Look at what happened in Senegal. The two guys who teamed up to win the elections there, they were not known traditional politicians and so on. So that is not a statement of fact. Again, you see, if you join a political party, the moment you join a political party, if you're an independent candidate, that's okay. The moment you join a political party, the statement you make is that your personal ambition has been subordinated to the ambition of the collective, which is the ambition of the political party. So nobody's individual personal ambition is bigger than the ambition of the political party. Indeed, it is the political party which wins elections or loses elections. It's not about individuals. In any case, these individuals who are jumping over themselves and doing all kinds of funny things and so on, look at them. My brother, look at them. What is presidential about them?
Oh.
I'm serious. What is presidential about them? Tell me. What is presidential about these individuals jumping around and playing the fool? What is presidential about them? These individuals have become relevant or have gained some relevance because of their participation and association with the National Democratic Congress. Finish. Take any one of them and take the NDC out and see who they are. So they should stop wasting our years. They should stop wasting our time. Why? Look at the qualification for president. The qualification for president says that anybody who is 40 years and above, who qualifies to be a member of parliament, who is a Ghanaian, is qualified to be president. Alive? Huh? Yes. So there are millions of Ghanaians who qualify to be president. You understand? Millions of Ghanaians qualify to be president. So they shouldn't waste our time. They shouldn't create the impression that there are some special beings who dropped from outer space yesterday and they have some qualifications that nobody has. What qualifications do they have? All these people jumping around. If you take, assuming that academic qualification is important, I don't think it is. But let's say that some of them think that academic qualification is important. Are they the most qualified academically in their country? They are not. If you take age, are they the oldest people in this country? They are not. What criteria? Any criteria that you pick, the people jumping around will not excel above the 36 million Ghanaians. So why are they wasting our time? It is becoming nauseating. You understand? Now, one of the other principles which is important, and it's an important principle, if they intend to contest elections on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress, or if anybody intends to contest elections on the ticket of any political party, it is that party's record, history, and so on, which wins or loses elections. Okay? Now, if that is the case, why are they wasting their time and wasting our years and so on? I don't understand. And I don't want to mention individual names. But take all the people who are jumping around and are they better than other party members? There's one who has openly come out and said that he is ready. If he's chosen, he'll be president. Let me ask Eric Opoku. What makes him think that he's more qualified to be president than Dr. Naba, who is sitting here? What makes him think that he's more qualified than Okudato Ablakwa? What makes him think that he's more qualified than Baba Jama? What makes him think that he's more qualified than Alex Egbefia? What makes him think that he's more qualified than Kalisus Mahama? What makes him think that he's more qualified than Obobia? What makes him think that? It is simply arrogance. It is arrogance. They are displaying pure arrogance. Because otherwise, why? We are working with people for the same purpose. Fifi Kwete is general secretary. He's sweating it out, trying to build the party and mobilize and so on. And you, because you've been given some small ministerial appointment, you go and sit somewhere and say, I want to be Fifi Kwete's leader. Are you better than Fifi Kwete? Are you better than Fifi Kwete? Are they better than Mahama Ayaraga? Why this? It's a shame. Complete shame. And I've said repeatedly that one of the things that worries me most is that in their quest to become presidential candidates, and I don't know why they even want to become presidential candidates, all of these people are going around saying that, Mahama's term is going for only one term. That term will end in 2028. And because of that, he's going to become a lame duck very soon. You've heard it. What does that mean? What does that mean? When they say that Mahama is going to become a lame duck, what does that mean? That simply means that in a few months' time, they will not respect the president. That in a few months' time, the president cannot direct them as to what to do. He's a lame duck. He has no influence. He's nothing. Is that not insulting? Somebody appoints you to come and help achieve certain objectives and so on. After 17 months, you have decided that he's becoming a lame dog. You, the appointee, you have decided that he's becoming a lame dog. And therefore you can do as you please. Perhaps they are lucky they have somebody like Mahama as president. Because somebody else would have sacked all of them long time ago. Sacked them, long time ago. And the funny thing, they come and say that, oh, I haven't said that I want to be president. Do you have to say it? All of these machinations on the ground, don't you know that they are being organized? All of this, and I don't want to talk about the specific machinations. They're all organized. They are funded. Are they not funding the machinations on the ground? Who can deny that all the things you see on social media, all those videos and so on, incoming president and so on, is not organized? Don't let us deceive ourselves. These are organized, funded. And it's going to cause a lot of trouble. What we are seeing now in the newspapers, this one, is only the beginning. If it's not stopped now, it will create a hell of problems for the party. Look, in the last elections, the NDC did so well. Look at the number of seats they have in parliament and so on. Somebody must wake up to the fact that that verdict of the people meant something. And if you toy with what that verdict meant, they will throw you out. The same way they threw the New Patriotic Party out. They voted for something. They want to realize that's something that they voted for. And what they voted for, I dare say, is significant improvement in the quality of their citizenship and their standard of living. That is what must be delivered. And you've been given the chance to help deliver that. And you are not focusing attention on that. You are standing in the mirror every morning, looking at your face and turning your back and saying, what? Me too, I'm fit to be president. You are an idiot. Sana, it's true. There's no other language that I can use. No, what other language can I use? If anybody wakes up in the morning, stands in front of the mirror, looks at himself or herself, turns her back, and comes to the conclusion that me too, I have to be president, what is that person? Tell me, how can you describe such a person? Such a person has lost it. He's lost it completely. The faculties are no longer working. It's been completely consumed by egotism. You understand? Completely consumed by egotism. That is the problem. Look, 2028 elections is going to be far more difficult than the 2024 elections. Because public expectation is high. People are going to ask important questions about how promises will be realized. A lot is going to depend on the legacy that President Mahama leaves. If President Mahama, by 2028, is not seen to have delivered on his promise, let me tell you what will happen. People are going to say, all politicians are the same. Mark it on the wall. People are going to say, they're all the same. They will all come and sweet talk us, and if you vote for them, nothing will happen. If that should happen, how can you, as a presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress, win election? If that should happen, the possibility is that you can get an upstart, somebody, populist and so on, emerging to beat both the NDC and the NPP. That's a possibility. Some complete upstart, somebody populist Just come on the wave and say all politicians are the same. Don't mind the political parties again, and so on. It is a possibility for 2028. The only way of averting that for the National Democratic Congress is for the National Democratic Congress to achieve the reset agenda. People want to see the 24-hour economy program being implemented. People want to see the big push projects being realized. People want to see the Women's Development Bank being established. People want to see access to university education open and less expensive. That is what people want to see.